Hi everybody, it's David Porter, and this morning I want to talk about Xylazine. Xylazine is a sedative analgesic which is only intended for veterinary use. It is not intended for human use. It is appropriate for equines, bovines, and canines. That is, horses, cows, sheep, and dogs. And Xylazine has found its way into heroin. Dealers are cutting their heroin with Xylazine because a small amount of Xylazine will exponentiate the effects of a small amount of heroin. Heroin dealers will combine small amounts of heroin with larger amounts of inert substances or psychoactive substances in an effort to maximize weight and volume and therefore their profit. And when you combine heroin, which is already an opiate, analgesic, and sedative, with another analgesic sedative such as Xylazine, you do not get a doubling of the effect. You get an exponential effect, a synergistic effect. So it's not going to be 1 + 1 = 2. It's going to be 1 × 10 = 10. You're going to get a much more profound effect. And that means that it is going to be easier for the end user to overdose. And it also will complicate withdrawal. Now, typically, withdrawal from opiates, while acutely painful and involving a great deal of discomfort and suffering, in most cases, nearly all cases, it is not life-threatening. The exceptions would be if someone already has a pre-existing cardiovascular or respiratory problem, or some other, severe medical problem, which has already left their health compromised. Which, in the case of long-term opiate addicts, that may very well be the case. Or that may be the situation. You are going to add the element of cardiovascular risk factors, the possibility of myocardial infarction, or what's commonly called a heart attack, or cardiac arrest during withdrawal when Xylazine is combined with heroin. So this is yet another complication and risk factor added to something which is already very high risk, that is, intravenous use of opiates. As I've indicated in another video on this channel, the average lifespan of a injecting opiate user is 7 years from the time they start until the overdose kills them. And this does not mean you can shoot up for 7 years and you're going to be okay until somewhere toward the end of year 7. It means that's how long the average user survives. You're on borrowed time. You're playing Russian roulette when you are injecting opiates, because yes, it could be 6 years or 7 years out. It could be 7 years and 1 month. Remember, this is an average time scale. It could also mean that the next time you inject, it will kill you. And Narcan is not the safety net that people imagine it is. There are things that opiate users or heroin addicts use in an effort to be safer. And these things are very dubious quality. Or, in other words, it just is implausible. It's not going to work. Things happen too fast. And you're relying on people who are inherently unreliable to save you. The idea of, well, I'm going to shoot up and I'll check in with my friend. My friend knows to check in with me. If I don't answer in 5 minutes, they'll call 911. You're going to be dead in 5 minutes. Or I'm going to shoot up and I've got my bro right here with an Narcan ready to go. And just in case I do too much. Well, your bro may not be as reliable as you think, because anybody can call you bro. It doesn't make it so. He may panic, he may freeze up, and he may not know what he's doing and be able to deliver the Narcan safely. And here's the other thing with Narcan: it is highly effective, 99% effective at arresting and reversing opiate withdrawal, opiate overdose, by placing someone in immediate withdrawal. Narcan is a competitive antagonist at mu-opiate receptors. It goes to the mu-opiate receptors that the heroin, or specifically the diacetyl morphine, has locked onto, and it yanks them off, rips them right off, and then blockades the receptors so no more can get in, thereby bringing you out of overdose almost immediately. If it's going to work, it works within seconds. However, there's a really narrow window of time to administer Narcan. Then that window is closing by the second. Once you're outside that window, it's too late. There's no amount of Narcan which is going to arrest the overdose and bring someone back. This is a very high-risk practice, and it is very degenerate to devalue your own life so much that you are willing to risk death in order to seek relief from withdrawal and to get high. Heroin is poison. It is impossible to use it safely over the long term. And I can already hear in the comment section people talking about how this is bullshit, they shot up heroin for years and they're okay, or their uncle, brother, cousin, friend has shot up heroin for years and it hasn't killed them yet. You know what? That's a really, really twisted logic, because again, 7 years is average, and of course there are people who escape the odds, but the odds aren't good. So you got to make your own choices. And I'm hoping that if anyone out there is watching this, I know I have a very small audience, if anyone out there is watching this and they're injecting opiates, stop playing games with your own life. Stop risking your life unnecessarily. Get into a treatment program. There are alternatives. You can make different choices. You don't have to continue killing yourself. You don't have to continue doing something which is so high risk. Alright, I guess that about sums it up for now. Thank you for watching. Please hit subscribe and be safe.